big range. At losing a half pound per week for 12 weeks you're gonna lose 6 pounds. Losing 2 pounds a week for 12 weeks, you're gonna lose 24 pounds. 2 pounds per week may be very extreme for most people. If you are losing weight too quickly, you are gonna end up losing muscle, not just body fat, and you are not going to win FitTrip, because if the goal is to gain muscle and lose body fat, you can't be losing muscle. So we wanna make sure you're in a really safe place too while you go through this. Does anyone know how many calories are in 1 pound? I know there's a shadow up there, I'm not really sure why it's there.
3,500.
3,500, you guys are so smart. So there are 3,500 calories in 1 pound. Let's just say you wanna lose a pound a week. There's 7 days in a week, not in a pound, 7 days in a week, 3,500 calories in a pound. How many calories do you need to decrease on a daily basis to get to that 1 pound per week loss?
500.
500. And again, thanks for bearing with me on the shadows. So if you wanted to only lose half pound a week, what would you need to decrease on a daily basis? 250 calories. If you wanted to lose 2 pounds per week, what would you need to decrease on a daily basis?
1,000.
1,000 calories a day deficit of what you need to maintain your current weight. That's a pretty extreme deficit. Does anyone know how many calories, what's the minimum level of calories that you can consume and get all the nutrients that your body needs? 1,200 calories. And that means that they are 1,200 nutrient-packed calories. Like everything that goes in your mouth is something that you feel like you should be consuming, not any of those extras. So keep this in mind. That's why the 2 pounds per week might be pretty extreme, because decreasing 1,000 calories a day can be a lot. So basal metabolic rate calculation, again, you guys did this through a formula on your sheet, so you already have this information. Your travel agent should help you with this. And then we are going to be assigning some activity levels. Whether it was done for you or not, we are going to go over it so that you feel really comfortable that you are in the correct place. So what we're going to do is be taking our metabolic rate times our activity factor. Remember, that's the getting up and coming to work kind of activity factor. Although we are using some special activity factors that include your exercise, and that is going to give you the number of calories that you need to maintain your current weight. This is an estimate. It's an excellent estimate. It's a formula. However, if you are either feeling like you're not meeting your goals or would like some very specific information, we do this thing called resting metabolic rate testing in all of the clubs with the dietitians, and front desk can help get that scheduled with you. And it actually involves breathing into a little machine. It doesn't change what you're breathing. It just measures your oxygen consumption. And we can actually come up with a very specific, accurate number for you personally of the calories that you need to consume. Any questions about this? All right, so let's move into our worksheet.
All right, ready to figure out how this works for you?
Yes.
Okay, great. You are going to need a couple things. And again, as we go through this, if any of what we have already said starts to get a little confusing once it's suddenly real for you, please ask questions. That will help everyone here. So you're going to need a couple things. You're going to need the Excel sheet that you worked on with your travel agent. You will need that. You will also need the FitTrip worksheet. And this is where we are going to be filling in a bunch of stuff. This is going to feel a little bit like math class for a couple minutes, okay? You will get very fun things out of it and be glad you did all of the calculations afterward. So the first thing we're going to figure out is that calorie number, okay? So you just heard Sarah go over it, and the way we're going to get it is from this sheet, okay? It's going to be your blue number, all right? So when you're looking at your worksheet, you are going to fill in that blue number on BMR, your basal metabolic rate. Okay?
Should we round up or round down with the decimals?
I would always recommend maybe rounding up to make sure you're getting enough, because remember, that's going to be really important for survival and for maintaining muscle mass. So I would lean toward rounding up, but you can make that decision however you would like. Okay? So once you have your BMR, we're going to figure out your activity factor. And your sheet may have a green number on it that has included an activity factor, but I actually want you to do the math on this one if you'll go with me, okay? Here are your options of activity factors, and this is also on your sheet. And so I want you to think about what you are currently doing as far as exercise, all right? This becomes a number you can play with a little bit once you learn how the process goes, but I want you first to pick which one you fit into. Are you in that 1.2 area, which probably means you have an office job, not spending a lot of time on extra exercise. Maybe you're really just focusing on eating this time around and changing some of your eating patterns. From there we go to light. Maybe you've added a couple times in the gym or outside, some type of activity that you have chosen, and then we kind of go from there. This extremely active at the end would really be somebody who not only has a very active lifestyle, maybe you do construction things on the side or something where you're moving around a lot for your daily life, as well as doing a lot of training, like think 2-a-days, okay? So pick where you fit in here and go ahead and fill it in, and then you're gonna do the math on that line above your green box to figure out your weight maintenance calories. All right, so you're multiplying your BMR times your activity factor to figure out that number of calories that you are most likely burning in a day, your expenditure, your out. And this is what you would need to kind of maintain that number, okay? Everybody got it?
Yes.
Great. So after that, we're going to figure out what I am going to refer to as the orange number, total daily calories, and this is going to factor in your goal. So whether Sarah had talked about if your goal is to lose weight, maybe you're setting a goal of 1 pound a week, so that would be 500 calories less. If you were doing ½ pound a week, 250. Maybe your goal is to maintain, or maybe your goal is actually just to gain muscle, in which case you're going to need a little bit more, okay? So I want you to use that green box to figure out your total daily calories. And remember, your total daily calories cannot be lower than your basal metabolic rate. That's when we start to lose muscle mass, and that is not what we want, okay? So if any of you need help figuring out that number, you can raise your hands, but I want you to set that goal to figure out your orange number. Yes?
If we think our exercise falls in between two of those categories, is there any kind of factor in between that you would recommend us use?
So we tend to underestimate how much we're eating and overestimate how much we're exercising. So maybe as we go through this, pick the lower option, but I would actually really recommend that after you do this and you know the process, do all the numbers based on the higher activity factor so you can see what that range might look like for you. Yeah. Yes?
Let's say I want to just improve my physique, so I just want to have more muscle, but I don't really want to lose weight. How would you factor that in?
So when you have personal goals, this is where maybe meeting with the dietitian at your site or something like that could be really helpful. What I would do in a situation like that, if you're wanting to gain muscle, you're going to need at least those kind of weight maintenance calories, and so you could do it right around there to see where you level out. You also, if you're really looking to gain some muscle, you may put it up a little bit, but I would kind of see your dietitian, and she can kind of help you set those numbers. Does that make sense? Okay, but I would stick with kind of what you have there. Cool. Any other questions? Does everybody have your orange number? Your total daily calories?
Yes.
Okay, so as we go through this, we're going to have a little example to kind of show you what it looks like. Our example is Gina. Gina is doing FitTrip. Gina is a 47-year-old female. She weighs 140 pounds. She has a desk job. She doesn't move a ton during the day, except for any exercise. Her basal metabolic rate was 1491 coming in. And her exercise was pretty inconsistent before FitTrip, but she has a reasonable goal to be doing some type of activity 2 to 3 times a week, okay? So her activity factor, we're going to put her at that 1.375, and she is going to end up at about 2,050 calories. Her goal is going to be around ½ pound of weight loss a week. She's getting back into the gym. She wants to make sure she's doing everything right, and so we're going to set a really reasonable goal for Gina. That means her daily calories are going to be 1,800. Is this a safe rate of weight loss for Gina?
Yes.
Yes, nodding heads. Why?
It's higher than her rest, or her BMR.
Very good. It's higher than her BMR. Very good. Okay. Moving on. Let's look at your protein next. So this is another number that you probably have coming in, but we are going to go over some of this together as well. So when you're figuring out how much protein you need. Remember, we talked about there's a very wide range. That acceptable macronutrient distribution range is wide for protein. So protein should be accounting for 10 to 35% of your daily calories. And we're eventually going to figure that out. To start out with how much protein you are needing to maintain muscle mass, we're going to work with these ranges up here. Most of you are probably working toward endurance activities or growing in your endurance exercise, and some of you may be working more in the strength category. And so those are the two ranges that we are going to look at, that 1.2 to 1.4, 1.2 to 1.8, okay? So, and 1.8 is a very high, pretty elite level of protein needs that athletes would need, okay? So you can put yourself in there where you see fit. If you're not really sure where to start, 1.2 is a great place to start to kind of see where this levels out. All right, for Gina, remember we have her body weight, and we are going to do the calculations. I'm going to kind of lead you through the sheet first, okay? So we have your protein needs. The first thing we need to figure out is your weight in kilograms, because you'll see those protein needs are based on grams of protein per kilograms of body weight. That's a mistake we can sometimes hear in the kind of fitness diet world. So if you hear people doing things based on pounds, most of our metrics are going to be off of kilograms. So the first thing we need to do is figure out your kilograms of body weight. And if you follow the sheet, you'll see how that goes. So you put your body weight in pounds, and you divide it by 2.2 to find out your kilograms of body weight. Anybody have any questions there? I'll lead you through the math best I can, but I know it's been a while since we were all in math class, so you ask questions as you go. Okay, everybody got your weight in kilograms? Great. So at this point, we are going to set your protein goal. Okay, if you need help doing this, we can kind of rotate and help you do that. 1.2 is a fine number to start with. If you're doing a lot of strength training, you could even go just a little bit higher. Once you do that, you are going to calculate out your grams of protein in the day. This is something that's probably also at the bottom of your sheet in a range, so you can make sure they kind of look the same, but you'll figure out kind of a target for your grams of protein in a day. iPhone calculators are great for this. Anybody need any help? What you are going to get from this number is the amount of protein that you need for building and repairing muscle, okay? That is the number that is adequate for you for building and repairing. If you were to consume more protein than that, that's fine. That's extra fuel calories like we were talking about. But eating more protein is not going to help you gain more muscle or repair better. Once you hit that number, you are at the point where it is sufficient. Okay? We'll show you a little bit of what that looks like. All right, everybody got your grams of protein? Okay, the next thing we need to figure out is if it fits within that range, that percentage range, right? So this is where we're going to work with the green box. You're going to take your grams